Hello and welcome to another day on Cornwall Pocket Farm. My name is Jenny and today I want to tell you all about a very exciting project that I'm embarking on and something that's coming up in the next few weeks, a very busy couple of weeks for me. And I thought, why not YouTube the whole thing and bring you along with me on this sort of adventure, if you like. So and I should say, I know it looks like I'm wearing exactly the same clothes as I wore in the last video, and that's because I filmed it right after filming the intro for the other video. So I haven't been ill for another week. This is actually, I'm just filming the intro back to back because I had the camera out anyway, and I'm still sort of getting my energy back. So it just seemed efficient. So it is actually just after the other video. But anyway, all these things are happening at once, so I wanted to share them with you. What is happening is the husband and I are going to the Winter Festival in Napier, which is an Art Deco festival. Napier has a festival in the summer, in February I think it is, and has been doing that for many years. And I think more recently they have started doing one in the winter as well. And it happens to be my husband and I's, is that the right way of saying it? Mine and my husband's? Yes, it happens to be our 35th wedding anniversary, can you believe? So we thought it would be a wonderful opportunity and excuse really to go down to the Winter Festival and enjoy all the sort of the vintage style and the vintage sort of fare, and there's vintage cars and there's vintage fashions and there's a ball and there's jazz and there's dancing and it'll be fabulous. It's got an amazing sort of lineup of activities, and we have booked to be basically out dancing 3 nights. We're going down there for 4 nights and 4 days. My daughter has very kindly offered to Maggie sit, so she's going to come and live in our house and look after Maggie, the two of them together while we're away, and that means that my husband and I are fancy free, and off we will go and dancing and fun and dressing up, and what could be better. So we decided this fairly late, and I only have 2 weeks to get together everything that I'm going to wear. Yes, I don't really have Art Deco because it's not my style. I've talked about it before on this channel. The Art Deco style, the 20s style, is very, I'm sure you all know, but it's very up and down. It's very straight, a boyish figure, slim hips, minimal bust. Now I can do the minimal bust part, I'm good there, but anything lower than that, slim hips, no. So it's a sort of a difficult era for me because that sort of sash around the hips is not my best look. However, this is New Zealand, and it's absolutely amazing that New Zealand has an Art Deco festival. I mean, that's amazing. So I'm really excited that it does actually have a vintage festival. It's not quite the era that I would prefer, but hey ho. And I'm sure that there will be people down there wearing eras that aren't the 1920s. Well, it's Art Deco, which I've looked into it, and it basically comes from 1919 through to 1939, so it's almost into the 40s. Anyway, I am trying to work out what to wear. Now, it's winter, so I figure that I can, as long as I've got a sort of an outer coat type, hat type situation, that will be fine, because what I wear underneath that, not really that many people are going to see in the daytime, and I could sort of hobble together my best vintagey things. They're more 1940s, 1950s style wear, but I think anything that's not modern will be fine, really. So as long as I don't put trainers on, I think we'll be all good. The big thing is the evening events. We're going to three evening events. There is the big ball, the big winter ball, so something very sort of grand and ball appropriate. Then we've got a sort of a jazzy sort of event, and then a sort of a concerty jazzy sort of event, I think it is. One's more dancing and one's more listening, I think, but I'm not really sure, to be honest, from what it says in the programme. So I don't really want to wear, I don't think it's reasonable to wear the same the same outfit for 3 events, because New Zealand's pretty small. And there aren't that many people going to the Napier Winter Festival, I wouldn't imagine. And so it's not like you're going to get lost in the crowd too much. Like if you've got the same outfit on 3 days in a row, it's going to be spotted. So I need a few different outfits. I went down to the charity shops the other day, and honestly, you could have blown me away. I walked into the first charity shop. In my head, I had, right, I'm looking for some 1920s-ish inspired, vaguely. I wasn't hopeful, I have to say. And I came out of that shop with 2 very 1920s outfits. I will actually show you them. I'll put them on and do a bit of a twirl so you can actually see what I'm talking about. So this is the first dress. Very pleased with that. $15 and flapper, I think. The first one is, it's actually a modern dress. It's an Ashley Fogel, who was a New Zealand designer. I'm not quite sure when. I think the sort of the 2010s, 1990s, that sort of era. But it just looks very, very flapperish to me. It's got the drop waist, it's got the asymmetric neckline, it's got the asymmetric sort of waistline V shape, which is very Art Deco, and then it's got that handkerchief hem. And of course it has all the sparkles. So it fits fine around the hips, but of course it is then too big on the bust area. But it was only $15, so it was perfect. So I just need to basically take in the side seams. Now I have to say I have never done an alteration on a sequined piece of fabric before, so I shall have to watch some YouTube videos on how to do that. But I think I just need to sort of take it in a bit under the arms, just zip it up. I mean, I'm used to that sort of alteration. That is often what I do with my clothes because of that sort of disproportionate nature of my top to my bottom. So that is a very regular, shall we say, a very regular alteration that I make. So I'm going to do that with this dress. I think that will be perfect. What I would like to make as well to go with this is a sort of a faux fur stole. I think that would be really nice to go around the shoulders. The next garment is this. Now, yes, there's loads of room. And yeah, I'm not quite sure if it's supposed to be down like that or whether, is it supposed to be up like this? I don't know. What do you think? My husband doesn't get it yet, and I'm looking at this more as resource material in a way rather than the actual garment, because, well, there's plenty of velvet in it. There's sort of sparkles and beading around the neckline. There's a really nice fringy tassel bit on it. The bit in the middle is really cheap and tacky. The bow and that sort of like weird sparkly bit through the middle. I mean, it's all very nylon-y. It's not pleasant. That needs to come out. But I have some other bits and pieces, some other trim pieces, which I'm going to add in, and I'm hoping using this as a base, this dress, and so basically cutting it apart and trying to put it back together in a way that looks a bit more 1920s. But this is actually a costume. On the label, it actually says the costume company, and I know that this is a 1920s costume because it came with this very not fetching headband, which is again a bit cheap and tacky, but clearly matches the sash piece and is all part of the costume. Now the other thing with this is it's a 2XL, so it is very big for me. On my lace dress video that I put in a little while ago where I took it in, somebody commented that it was better to leave the larger sizes on the rack for larger people that find it more difficult to find clothes. Well, that lace dress was actually on the last chance rack, so it had been hanging around for quite some time. It was basically on the sale rack next stop landfill, so I didn't feel too bad about the lace dress, but I hadn't actually thought of that angle, so thanks very much. That was quite a useful thing to think about. This costume also was on the last chance rack. It had been $15 and then was now reduced down to $7. Clearly, in my local thrift shop, the chances of somebody wanting a 1920s outfit like this was not high, so it wasn't selling. So I felt okay about actually bringing it home, and it has given me all the raw materials that I need, I think, to make a 1920s outfit. And of course, my third outfit, I'm actually going to reuse my Poiret. Yeah, Poirot. I always want to say Poirot, like Hercule Poirot. It's not, it's Poiret. So it's my Poiret coat that I made for my friend's housewarming party, and then I wore again for the Art Deco ball last year up here in Auckland at Christmas. So I'm going to take that out and wear that again because it's a nice coat. I like it. I made it, and yes, I get nice compliments on it. But what I was wearing underneath it was just a modern dress that didn't have, it was just a sort of a shift dress, really, very, very simple white dress that I had in my wardrobe anyway. What I want to do this time is I do have a little piece of that sari left. So what I'd like to do is make one of these 1 hour 1920s dresses out of this remaining piece of sari. Then essentially the entire sari will have been used for a 1 hour dress and the Poiret coat, modelled on the Poiret coat in the Met Museum. So that's my plan, but as you can see, I have quite a lot to do. The other thing I thought was to make my winter coat a little bit more 20s and vintage looking. It would be better to have some sort of fur collar around it. I did actually manage to score some faux fur the other day, secondhand from a bric-a-brac market, which I'll tell you about in another video actually, because I got some great things. But I got this faux fur. I don't know how much I've got of it, but I'm really, really hoping to do is get a fur collar to go over my coat collar to sort of bring that 20s edge to my sort of walking about town outer garments, if you like. And then also, if I could possibly squeeze out a little faux fur stole to go with the sparkly dress. I'm actually calling that my flapper dress because that feels a bit more flappery. So I think we'll call the sparkly one the flapper dress, we'll call the costume company dress, and then of course we'll call the Poiret 1 hour dress. That's already labelled. So that conversation about all those outfits will be ongoing, but I have 2 weeks to get all this done. So the Art Deco project, should we call it? It's probably going to be a bit of a mini-series, I would think, on the channel. But anyway, I have listed everything that I would like to attempt. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 things. And I have about a week and a half, no, exactly 2 weeks before we actually get on the plane. So, is it doable? I don't know. I don't think I'll manage to get everything done, but let's go through it. So the flapper dress, the sparkly flapper dress, that's just the alteration of taking it in at the sides. Now, that should be reasonably quick. She says, touch some wood. I've never sewn sequins before, so that could go horribly wrong, be an absolute nightmare, and take days and days and days. The 1 hour dress make, well, I know from when I made the Poiret coat, the fabric is very slippy. I have a tendency to over-embellish things or sort of over-design, should we say, so do a little bit more than the basics, but I'm going to have to stick to the basics for this. And it's supposed to be a 1 hour dress. I don't think you're supposed to make it in an hour. Maybe you are. I haven't seen anybody on YouTube that's made it in an hour. But I'm thinking, I made the Poiret coat in a day, so I'm hoping that that should be knocked off in a day, maximum half a day preferably, but we will see. Now the velvet dress, I don't know. How long is a piece of string? I mean, I don't even really know what I'm going to do yet. So that's going to be a bit of standing around, and I don't even have a design for the velvet dress yet. So we will see. If that doesn't happen, I've still got 2 more outfits. I'll just wear 1 to 2 events. That'll be fine. The fur stole, I would really like to make the fur stole, but this actually came about because I wanted the fur to make a fur collar. So I think the fur collar is the most important thing, because that's going to make my ordinary winter coat look like a 20s coat. Without the fur collar, it just sort of looks like a coat. So I think I need to make the fur collar. I'm hoping that shouldn't be too long. I will need to sort of cut out a lining for it. I will probably put the coat on my mannequin and just drape it a little bit on there. I'm not actually going to fix it on the coat. I'm literally just going to wear it over the top, almost like as a scarf on the top, if you like. I would like to do the fur stole. Again, it depends how much fabric I've got. I need to look at it and see what I can get out of the pieces. If the collar goes well, then I might go on to the fur stole, but it isn't, I don't think, required, because I think it would be lovely. I think it would be really, really, really nice with the flapper dress, and I do really want it, but we will see. The corduroy trousers, you haven't seen that project yet, because I am working on that in the background, making those, and I've just really got to put the facing on and get the waistband on, and then sort of whip up the inseam and then hem it. So there's not a lot of work in the corduroy trousers. The braces, which I think in America you call suspenders, you know, the ones that I've got underneath my desk, the ones I got from the charity shop where all the elastic is gone and I've got all the leather pieces. I would like to make straps, for new straps for those leather pieces, and then of course they go with the corduroy trousers, which I want to put buttons on. So, but that is a real stretch target. The braces are a real stretch target. I don't even have the fabric for that, so that's probably not going to happen. But it's on the board. It's on the board, you know. And then I've got here headbands for the 3 dresses that I make. Now, what I've actually got is, I watched a video on YouTube, which was very helpful, about, I mean, obviously I've got very little hair. I mean, I don't have a lot. I can't really sort of dress my hair and make it all sort of beautiful. But what I've learned on the YouTube is that if I put a headband, just like a normal bought headband on, then I can clip something on to the headband. And I've called them headband for F, is a headband for the flapper dress. So headband P is the headband for the Poiré outfit, and then the headband V is the headband for the velvet outfit. The flapper dress is the quickest fix to be wearable, I think. So I think that is a priority, because if I can zip up those sides reasonably quickly, I have an outfit. Job done. I have the dress, I have some shoes, so I think that's a priority. The 1 hour dress is a bit of a priority, and I'll tell you why. Because if I make that dress to go with the Poiré coat, there is actually a fashion flaunt that you can enter. That is sort of a bit of a priority, because I'd like to do that. I think it would be fun. The velvet dress is probably the least important out of these. I would really like it for the ball, but I think it has the most work, and I think it's the least well formed in my head, and I could wear one of the other 2 things to that event. So that's probably not as much of a priority as the flapper dress first of all, then the 1 hour dress. The fur collar, as I said, is probably a priority because it makes the walking around town outfit 1920s. Without that, it's not as 1920s, and hopefully shouldn't take very long. The fur stole would be nice to have, but more involved, and that's further down. Corduroy trousers finished. I could wear my other ones, but we'll see how much work's in that. Braces, that's a stretch target. Headbands, I don't think should be too much, but I am going to see if I can buy some little clippy things to put on. I'll probably go down to the charity shop, see if they've got anything that I can just attach, whether it's a brooch, anything, just something to go bling, you know. So that those could be pretty quick, but I don't need all 3. If I can make 1 or even 2, I could wear them for the other things as well. So there we go. Yes, loads of things. Am I going to be able to get them all done? No. I think we're going to have to go with a good, better, best type of thing. I mean, you know, it's not the end of the world, really. I mean, if I just went with the poire coat, none of the other things are wearable. But if I just went with the poire coat and wore that to 3 events, the world would not end. It would be fine. But I would like to do better than that. So follow along on this journey and yeah, let's see how I go.